Yeah, pretty similar. A lot of the same guys. The pace is pretty hot out there in the scrimmage, so it's been good so far.
Has it been easy is the wrong word to use on day 2 of camp, but has it been a little bit easier with regards to what you knew about Travis last year and what you're going through?
Yeah, maybe as far as expectations, we're definitely expecting it this year. Today definitely wasn't easy. It was a probably harder skate than yesterday, so yeah, you got to get our legs under us here, so it's good.
I guess just like for you personally heading into this season, like how do you see your role on this team after last year? You kind of adjusted to playing on the wing or so.
Yeah, definitely a similar role than last year. I think I kind of bought into that role pretty good, and it definitely worked out for our team, so I'm looking forward to the same kind of role.
How do you feel about the bobblehead of yourself that's going to be coming up later this season?
Yeah, I haven't heard too much about it. I know the media is having a lot of fun with it lately, but I haven't seen it or anything like that, so I don't have much for you.
Well, even if you haven't seen it, like how do you feel about knowing that there is going to be a bobblehead and it looks like it's going to commemorate that moment against the Leafs 2 seasons ago?
Yeah, it's definitely pretty neat to have a bobblehead. Like I said, I don't know what it's going to look like, but it's definitely pretty cool to have a bobblehead, yeah.
Did any of your friends giving you any feedback on it, or are they having a good laugh about it, or?
No, a couple buddies kind of sent me a link or whatever saying, "Is this real?" But I don't know. That's about it. Yeah, nothing much.
Has any of your teammates mentioned it as well?
Not really. It's pretty quiet. It's probably more just the media side of things.
Do you even like bobbleheads?
I mean, maybe as a kid I had a couple. I can't remember who, but they're definitely memorabilia kind of thing. So it's pretty cool.
Did you do anything different training-wise in the offseason?
It was a little more rehab, for sure. I think everybody after a playoff like that kind of takes some time to rehab the body and kind of get sorted out. But then it was a lot of the same stuff as last year.
How important is it for the club to get together, I think, 2 weeks before the actual camp?
Yeah, we've all been here for a few weeks now, so it's nice seeing the guys and kind of spending some time together again. And more importantly, being on the ice together and kind of building that chemistry back. So, yeah, it's been a good couple weeks so far.
How's it been for you managing expectations, knowing that this team wants to not just make the playoffs, but do more in them?
Yeah, for right now, I'm kind of just taking it day by day. I'm not looking too far into the future. We definitely have more expectations going into the year, but we're just kind of taking it slow and getting through camp here.
What are some things you learned about yourself as a player throughout like the playoffs and push to the playoffs last season?
Yeah, I definitely kind of got some more confidence kind of in the second half of last year, so I'm hoping to kind of build off that again going into the year here.
Was there anything that you felt changed in your game to kind of lead to the play at the back half of the season?
I definitely kind of started to play more minutes in the second half there, so that I kind of went from there and kind of got easier as the game went on. But yeah, just kind of build off that and hopefully kind of play the same amount of minutes.
Sample size, but how's the first 2 days of camp gone, in your opinion?
For me personally or for team-wise? Both. I thought it was a pretty terrible showing out of 3-5 today, but sometimes that happens. Sometimes you're the best one out there, but at the end of the day, you just got to come in and have a little bit better tomorrow. At least I acknowledge it and move forward.
You got a sense, or are you getting a sense that everybody's on the same page and there's no maybe hesitation like there might have been last year with a new coach and new players?
There's always going to be some. There's a lot of new bodies, a lot of young guys as well, trying to find their ways and show off their skill and make the team, so to speak. And for us, it's all about winning the day mentality like it was last year, trying to be everyday leaders as well for the young ones, but also for each other.
Can you go into a little bit more detail as to why your assessment of the first 2 days hasn't been so high?
I have a pretty high standard. I don't think I'm getting up to that standard as of yet. Good thing is that it's only 2 practices into the season, so I'm not really that worried.
Is that something like when you come to camp that it's just, you haven't been at that speed for a while? Like, is that kind of, do you feel like that's been a part of it a little bit?
No, I mean, you get new stuff. There's a lot of flow drills. We're here at the Sensplex as well, where the ice in itself and the rink are different compared to Canadian Tire. So there's a lot of different things that kind of makes it harder, I would say. But I'm not worried.
How was your summer?
It's great, thanks. How are yours?
was great.
Awesome. What did you do?
Played a lot of golf.
A lot of golf? I didn't play a lot of golf. Took-
You didn't?
No, I took care of the body. I didn't really have time to go out there. It was too hot, and I usually go out after 7, but everybody was still out there playing. So no, I kind of did other things this summer. So, but it was fun, a lot of fun.
When did you get back on the ice and start kind of preparing for camp?
Well, I think it was the beginning of August. Yeah, first week of August, so to speak.
Is that normal? Is that?
Oh yeah,
follow
yeah.
our
There's
team?
no reason to go on any earlier for me.
Yeah.
It's not a sprint, it's a marathon, and there's going to be a lot of hockey coming up.
And who do you skate with, Linus?
Me, myself, and I. But I had a lot of fun this season. Season opener in a way because Petey came over. We did a full week of trying to just get a head start and work on different details and the mindset and other things. And I thought it was a pretty good one. But then also, I think we're gonna have to do some little changes for next summer that might improve how I feel now. But you live as you learn, and I think that's pretty exciting as well.
Is that something you've done with your goalie coaches in the past, Linus?
Nope.
Or no?
Nope. First of all, there's been once before Petey, and then he came over last year as well, trying to get to know me, and I get to know him as well, which was really nice. I think that was one of the reasons why we kind of got a head start into the season and get to learn how I function, and I get to learn how he kind of go about his day, so we can be pretty honest from the get-go.
Because you two have to be, for lack of a better word, a team within a team, right? You and the goalie coach.
Mm-hmm.
How much, maybe I know you've mentioned it before about Team Sweden and the Olympics being on your mind. How much of that is a motivation headed into this season?
It's not really something that I think about too much, to be honest. I know when the time comes and you get the call, or if you don't get the call, doesn't really matter. Am I going to be pissed at the point if I don't go? Yes, of course. We all want to go. There's the biggest stage in international hockey, so everybody wants to represent their country. And so it's not something that I actively think about because it's not important now. When the time comes in February and you do get the call, that's when it becomes important.
There's a lot of guys on this team who got to experience playoff hockey for the first time last year, and they have to manage expectations with remaining a playoff team and wanting to go beyond that. In your experience, you've played on a bunch of different playoff teams. What experience can you impart on some of those other younger guys with being in the role that they're in right now?
Just the overall mental fatigue that comes with it, and that you put on yourself, but also that the game doesn't change. If you haven't played there, you don't realize how different but also not different it is. Yes, first round is very tough because everybody wants to go out there and hit each other every single shift and lay the body out there and play physical. But the game doesn't change. It's still hockey. We play. You still got to do back check, forward check, stay within the system, play tighter, and win your battles. And something that we talk about a lot is winning puck battles, and it becomes even more important when you go into the playoff series to win 55 of them instead of 53. And you know, those extra percentage can help you get an extra goal or prevent a goal, or you never really know. But I was very proud of what we accomplished, throughout that series in a way of that we maybe got a little bit ahead of it and got caught up in the moment the first game, but we grew the longer the series went. And it could have gone either way. It's 3 or 4 OT games. Could have been 4-1 to us, but this time around, Toronto came up on top, and we learned from the mistakes that we made in that series, and we grow from it. And I thought we did, because we were a different team from Game 5 and 6 compared to Game 1 and 2.
Yeah, it's been a tough couple days, but it's great. It's great to go through that with the guys early in the season. It builds the team chemistry, and it's really good to battle with the guys like that.
What are your impressions of maybe how the guys are looking out there, and what have you liked from the on-ice session so far?
Yeah, the guys look great. I think everyone's in really good shape. Everyone took care of themselves this summer and came ready for camp. So I'm really excited for the season to get going.
What areas of your game, maybe specifically, are you trying to look at going into this camp, specifically coming in after the summer?
Yeah, I just want to, improve all aspects of my game, but I think just being able to, protect the puck and use my body to my advantage and, use my speed to beat guys is something that, I want to focus on.
How were your summer workouts with Sam Gagne? Sorry, how were your summer workouts with Sam Gagne?
They're great. There's a good group up there. It's a really good spot, and obviously Gags is with the organization now, so I was under tight watch all summer. But the skates he ran were great, and yeah, it was an awesome summer.
How much time did you spend on working on your defensive game?
Yeah, it's hard to just go out there and work on your defensive game other than when you're playing games and stuff for the most part. So you try and work on that is when in the scrimmages or battle drills and stuff like that.
Was there an emphasis for you, like in this offseason, or like what areas of your game you wanted to improve on there?
Yeah, kind of like I said before, just being able to use my body to protect the puck and know when the right time to use my speed because I think I can use that more to my advantage and just being strong on the puck winning battles down low.
How do you think maybe last year's playoff run kind of helped you, develop as a player, like those lessons that you learned playing in the playoffs and down the stretch?
Yeah, I think that experience we got in playoffs is really good for our team and really good for myself. It just goes to show every single play matters and every single play affects the game. So there's no shifts off, and I think that experience is going to help us a lot this year.
Your body got in the way of a shot yesterday. Your body got in the way of a shot yesterday. Your foot okay? A little bit of a scare?
Yeah, no, it wasn't a scare. It was just a good stinger. Yeah, no, it's good.
We saw a couple days ago on Far Down on their social channels, there's a video with Brady Tkachuk where he revealed your nickname is Rich Cuz. How do you feel about being Rich Cuz?
I don't know. We need some way to differentiate the nicknames between us because right now we're both, for the most part, Cuzzy, and I never know who the guys are talking to, and the guys love chirping them, so I always think I'm getting chirped. But we got to figure it out there for sure.
Was it Brady's idea for the nickname, or?
I think so. Yeah.
Rich Cuz should be better than Poor Cuz, though.
I mean, yeah, I'll take it.
Yeah, I think, last year we kind of knew what it was about, and coming into this year, it was definitely a little bit of a bagger, but, we got to get ready to play, and I think all the boys feel pretty good.
How'd you spend your summer?
Good, yeah, just working out, training, obviously, and then, a couple of golf rounds, hanging out with my dog, and, overall good summer. And, yeah, it went by quick, and it's happy to be back.
How did you respond to the challenge of everyone on this team needing to take a step to get better, knowing that you have the target on your back trying to stay trying to stay a playoff team?
Yeah, I think, whenever you make the playoffs next year, there's going to be more expectations, and I think we're all mature enough to know, that's what it is and that's what it's going to be. But I think all the boys came back ready, in shape, and, the first 2 days have been pretty good, and hopefully we keep building.
I think you went out east again and trained with like McKinnon.
Yep.
I heard that you're become kind of close with Nate. How is that relationship, and how has he maybe helped you on the ice as well?
Yeah, I think anytime I get to go out there and train with those guys, it's always so cool to learn from them. I think those are the two of the top 5 players in the NHL. So just to even be associated with them is pretty cool, and I just try to take as much as I can, and Nate's been pretty awesome. Just trying to give me some tips and try to take them with me, and hopefully I could use them for this year.
Could you give us a status update as to where things are at with your contract? We know you're up for review next summer.
Yeah, I think for me, I'm just going to focus on, the next few weeks, and if something comes into fruition, then, we'll see. But for right now, just kind of focus on training camp and go from there.
Do you have like a timeline as to when you'd like things to be done?
No, I think I just want to focus on, the boys winning some hockey games, and, we'll see what comes about it.
Is there any?
Nothing is done by the start of the season, would you rather it gets kind of set aside to
Ye-
just focus on hockey?
Yeah, I just want to focus on hockey. I think it's a big year for everyone. I think, I don't want to be a distraction to anyone, and I want all of us to take the next step and hopefully have a good start, and then we'll see what goes from there.
Learn a lot of drills with G out there.
Yeah.
It's just like, what's that like to be out there with him again and just learn from him? You spoke about it last year.
Yeah, he's the man. I think, he's 37, 38 years old. He's still one of the most in shape when he came into camp, and the way he's working out there, it's so impressive, and that just shows that's the reason he's played so many games in the league and why he's been so successful. So every time I go out on the ice, I try to enjoy it because it's a pleasure for sure.
How long did you spend in Halifax with those guys?
About a week. It was just kind of like a camp. Stayed there from like Sunday to Thursday. So I'm going to try to go out there every summer if they keep letting me. So it's always a good experience.
What did you learn from those guys?
Yeah, I think I mean, the way they compete in the summer, it's the middle of summer, and they're going pretty much game 7 on all these drills. So I think that just shows what it takes to get to that elite level. So, yeah, like I said, whenever I get a chance to go out there, I'm going to keep doing it.
What were you trying to improve upon in your own game this offseason?
Yeah, I mean, I think the big thing for me is just continue to get a little bit quicker in my first 3 steps. I think that's important. Just stronger along the boards. You know, I think the game now, especially in the playoffs, is all along those boards, making those little plays and trying to protect pucks. So I try to do that throughout the summer, try to get a little bit bigger and stronger, and hopefully that results into some good things.
What does it mean to you to kind of be on the Team USA radar, and how proud are you to be in the situation?
Yeah, that's awesome. I think, you know, obviously winning at Worlds definitely helped, but no, definitely just to be on their radar, it's an honor, and, you know, I'm just going to do what I can, and if it's meant to be, it'll be.
And notice after a couple of sessions, like, guys are coming off, and you've noted how hard they've been, but
Yeah.
they seem jacked up, like really proud of what you accomplished out there already.
Yeah, like I said, I think the first 2 days have been it's been fast-paced, but all the boys have, even after the skate test, I think everyone was in good shape, and even today, I think we all had a good skate, and the scrimmage was pretty high pace, and I think it's been a good start to camp.
How much do you think maybe being comfortable with Travis Green and the systems will help you guys kind of going into the season?
Yeah, I think it's just hit the ground running, I guess. Like, you know, we don't have too much things to refresh on, but I think we pretty much have it in our game what we need to do, and I think that's just going to let us hit the ground running when it starts.
Well, yeah, I think you nailed it there. Small sample size. Guys are a little tired today, but I thought they worked hard. They competed. Tried to do some of the things we talked about as far as our structure goes. And, yeah, it's just a short little scrimmage.
We know you're not a goalie expert, but
Yep.
What has been your assessment of Linus Ullmark these first few days? He told us that he doesn't feel he's met his standard.
He's been fine. Linus can be hard on himself. I thought he had a good day 1. I didn't watch him overly close today. I know, pretty sure he didn't let in a goal in the scrimmage, so probably wasn't that bad.
How much do you try to maybe help him out a little bit kind of on that side?
He's fine. I'm not worried about Linus one bit.
Didn't look like there was a ton of space out there during the scrimmage.
No.
Obviously, short game, but not a lot of space out there. Pace seemed really high. Were you encouraged by what you saw?
Yeah, that's, you know, I think you see that a lot, though, in training camps, where there's guys are kind of flying around full speed. Guys haven't played together. Obviously, there's skill levels different throughout the lineup. It can look a little scrambly as well, but you know, that's part of the game early in camp.
Maybe is that the first camp that you've seen? Just maybe seen from the first.
Yeah, he's looked good. Yeah, he looks quicker, more aggressive, probably just more comfortable in his surroundings as well. But he's looked good. Like most of our guys have looked good the first 2 days.
I feel maybe Ridley Greig has adjusted to playing on the left wing. Like, I know things can change, but it was a big change for him last season.
Yeah, I don't even think about it, to be honest. I think he's fully developed into either left wing or right wing or centerman, which is nice to have a player that you know you can put in any position. Those guys are hard to find.
How much for you, coach, does that help? Like, you have a guy like Amadio as well, like guys that can kind of play all over.
Yeah, I think you see that a lot though in today's NHL. If a guy can play left wing, he can usually play right wing. It's harder to find guys that can play center and the wing. So, but Amo looks like he's improved over the summer. He looks like he's in great shape.
You mentioned last year, towards the end of the year, you were hard on Tyler Clevin. You acknowledged that you were a little hard on Clevin early on in the season. How would you evaluate him in his first couple days with him?
Yeah, you know, I think I was hard on Clev the first half of the year. The second half, not near as much. That's usually, when that happens, that's usually because you're playing better. And, you know, he's matured, he's developed. You know, he's still young, though. He's still learning lots of things about being a pro, about the NHL, about the defensive position, about his offensive side of his game, about what he can bring on a daily basis. And he'll continue to develop. We like him a lot.
Sorry, just to follow up on that. We haven't seen any special teams play in the first couple
No.
days of camp. Is special teams like the penalty kill is an area where you could expect a guy like Clevin to step up and have a big
Yeah, we've talked to Clev, we've talked to all of our D about different things that we want to do in the penalty kill. Probably try to put a few different new faces in. We'll work on that though as we get either into games or next week.
And on penalty kill is, do you anticipate maybe giving some skilled players an opportunity to try?
I didn't hear the first part of the question.
Just stick with penalty kill in just the early going, the exhibition games. Do you anticipate using some of your skilled players in some of those opportunities?
Yeah, we got a lot of skilled players. So if we're going to add people, they're going to have elements of skill in their game, I think. So you'll see a lot of different guys at least through exhibition.
We've seen Shabbat and Paulo get some time together. What have you liked from those two guys playing together in the 2 days?
It's early. Yeah. Manti looks like he's in really good shape. He looked fine in the game. As far as them as a pair, I think it's just a little bit too early. I also said not to read into the pairings or the lines. So,
You need to experiment with things, right?
Yeah.
See
yeah,
how they-
part of it is we're not, guys aren't on top of their game, and we're not set in our lines right from day one. We have, talked about it the other day. I don't know who's going to play with who yet, but I also don't need to put them together right now when camp is. There's a lot of different players in camp. You're not seeing NHL quality of practice. You're not seeing full NHL players in the scrimmage. So everyone's level of play is a little either higher or lower, and the game can be a little scrambly as well. So, but for me, I look more at the individual play of how a player is performing as camp goes on, and then obviously as we get closer to the end, or we get into real games, you can start to read what you want to read.
Last summer when you were getting to know your players, you had some various conversations, whether in person or over the phone, and you were asking them to work on a couple different things. This past summer, did you find yourself telling your players to do more of the same? What are some other different concepts you might have been getting some of your different guys to do?
I think, when we meet with players at the end of the season or going into the off season, every player has it's definitely not the same for every player. I think it's very tailored to each player and what they need to improve on, whether it's strength, conditioning, parts of their game. Certain parts of a player's game you can work on, and certain parts, maybe it's mentally being more focused in an area, but there was clear direction for each player where they can improve.
Specifically with Tim Stützle, what were certain things you wanted him to work on over the summer, and actually I'll skip the second part, what are specific things you wanted him to work on this summer?
Well, I think you guys know me well enough. Conversations that I have with players are not, I'm not just going to openly tell you everything I talked to Timmy about, but I think there are parts of his game that he's still a young player. I even think offensively there's parts of his game that can improve. I think his defensive game came a long way. The physicality in his game, or willingness to play through physicality, also came a long way. And he's just, sometimes you look at a player of his age and he's a good player already, and you forget that there's still room to grow. And I think he has room to grow in his game. He's definitely coming to camp strong. He's in great shape, and Tim's a real committed player. He doesn't go home at the end of a season thinking that this is his best version. He knows that he's young, but he also wants to be as good as he can, and he's very driven, and he works hard in the off season.
Thomas Shabbat yesterday mentioned that Timmy, like in all the drills, like is super competitive.
Mhm.
If he loses, a little game of whatever. I'm curious for you, how much does that help you as a coach when your best player, one of your best players, is that competitive in each and every drill?
Yeah, I think when your leaders of your team are competitive, that bleeds through your team. Then I think we have that with our leaders. Our better players are competitive. They're not happy when they lose, and ultimately that's what you want your whole team to be.
You mentioned how most of the guys, if not all the guys on this team, are pretty coachable. What's it like when you're trying to instill different concepts with Tim, and he takes what you're teaching him?
Yeah, he's very open. I think there are things, certain parts of his game, even offensively, he's not closed-minded on that part of his game. He'll listen, he thinks, and it's not a one-way street. A lot of our conversations, we want feedback from players. We want them to not only understand but agree with what we're preaching.
How often are you telling him to shoot? I know he's heard that before from
Never.
other guys.
Yeah, you just tell him to keep looking to pass all the time and never shoot. Yeah, you know what? Offensive guys, they figure things out. I'm not going to overcoach them offensively either. Are there times he can shoot a little more? Maybe. You know, it probably is, but you can probably say that about a lot of offensive players. And I think as they grow in the league, not only does their defensive game grow, but their offensive game grows as well. And I also think it's important that you don't try to program a player like him too much. You know, you talk about it, you give him advice, but yet there's a reason why those skilled players do things that other people can't, and it's a fine line between coaching and overcoaching.